Good afternoon, good day, good morning, whatever time you're watching this today. I hope it is a good one for you. And I just want to let you know how thankful we are that you allow us into your home. Today we want to discuss a topic that I think will be valuable to single, not just single women, but single men. And, one of the things I have noticed in my experience as a counselor, but also my experience as being a product of a divorced mother.
Okay.
And that is that oftentimes our caring for other people, our caring for our children, our caring for, different people in our lives will lead to people using a noble approach, which is really harmful, in my opinion.
Okay.
And that noble approach is they will sacrifice themselves in their mind's eye, saying that will help me to yield a better outcome for those people I am sacrificing for. But that's not always the case. Sometimes your sacrifice can also be detrimental to those.
That's true.
So today I wanted to kind of talk about that, put it in perspective. And so maybe we can help people who may be single with children or what have you to kind of get a proper balance in that way, so that they're not neglecting themselves at the expense of taking care of somebody else.
Okay.
With that being said, welcome again, and I want to extend a welcome to our lovely co-host, Angie.
Thank you.
How are you doing on today?
I'm doing great. Excited about this podcast.
Okay.
This topic.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then, because I know from my counseling experience, the average woman who finds herself without a significant other in her life, whether it be a husband or the father of the child, what have you, their natural impulse is to sacrifice wherever they are in life so that they can devote all their free time to ensuring that their children have the things that they think their children deserve. And they will sacrifice their own health.
Yeah.
They will work 2 jobs or they will sacrifice or they will do without stuff so that the child can have different things. They will walk, catch a bus so the child can have a cell phone, or whatever they think that they will spend $150, $200 for tennis shoes for the child, and they'll be going to a discount store to buy shoes for themselves, right? The child will be wearing a leather coat, and they'll be wearing a coat that they had 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Help me to understand that concept. Why is it that women take that stance? I mean, what is it about the makeup of a woman that they are willing to put themselves in a bad position in the hopes that will make everything better?
Wow, I want to say it's a hard question, but then again, it's not. You really, we really don't know what the person has gone through in their childhood. It could be past history or just past conditioning, watching their own mother do these exact same things that you just said. I can honestly say for myself, I have put my children first in that sense because we think that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take care of them, provide for them. So, of course, in our minds, taking care of them and providing is to put them first, to make sure they have all the things that they need. And we will put ourselves last. We will kind of take the back, just the back seat for a little while. Thinking of myself, once I divorced, I started going to school. I was even working 2 jobs at one point. Just to make sure everybody was okay. But like you said, sacrificing my health because I had a full-time job during the day and then the evening job paid good as well, and I didn't want to let that go. I said, well, this will really help us. And I did it for a little while, and then I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore, because it got to the point that I was needing to take breaks on my full-time job to go in the bathroom just to get myself together. So I said, this isn't going to work. And then plus I was away from my children more, because they were at next door at the babysitter's house while I was at work. So,
and I think, and that's the dynamic. That's the thing that I want to help people see some things here. In that, sometimes in our zeal to give our children what we didn't have, and I'm speaking most single women at this time, right? There could be some single men that's doing this as well. But if we're going to maximize being single, then you have to. My point is that if you're going to maximize being single, it is not just about learning how to maximize when you don't have other issues in your life. It is, how do I maximize being single when I have other pressing issues in my life? When I have other things that are confronting me, other problems still facing me, and other responsibilities. How do I do that, right? And one of the things that I see with single parents is that they will put their lives on hold until they get the child to a certain place, and then they'll say, I'll pick it up later, right? But you cannot recapture time.
You sure can.
That's the one thing you cannot recover from, right? And so, but in putting their own lives on hold, what they really do is they inhibit their child from getting a quicker jump start, right? For example, let's say you're a single parent and your child is 4 years old. And you have been going to school, but now your child, you're on your own now for whatever reason. It could be deadbeat dad, could be deadbeat mom, for whatever reason. So now you say, well, you know what? Gosh, I was 2 years away from graduation, but now I don't have that extra income. So I need to, get this full-time job so I can support my children. And that's what most people will do. They will cut that school short. They will go to school and go to work rather, so they can, get the child that cell phone, which in my opinion they don't need. But get them the cell phone. They can get them the Air Jordans. They can, give them the latest hairstyle so they don't get picked on in school, and et cetera. And by the time they regroup from that, the child is now in high school. So they have gone approximately 10 years or so putting themselves on hold. And so the whole family has been struggling, right? Where if they had said to themselves, I'm going to take 2 years and finish my degree and put me first for these 2 years, if I do that, I'll be able to better take care of my children from that point on.
That's right.
So as opposed to it being a 10-year hiatus where you really was struggling paycheck to paycheck, you've only had a 2-year struggle, and then you'd be able to come back much stronger. And to me, that's maximizing where you are, because now you're taking yourself as a single person and saying, hey, listen, what does it take to make me better? And if I'm better, my children will be better. So how do I become better with the confines of what I have? And I think most people don't do that. They don't look at how can I become better. Their first thought is, how can I make my children better?
That's true.
And so you're really looking at it, in my opinion, in a backwards way, because I can't make my child better unless I'm better.
You are 100% right about that. And I'd like to add this, just thinking back on my parents. My parents got married as teenagers because I came along. They were high school sweethearts. My father, my dad's 2 years older than my mom. So once he graduated high school, he went on to college on, scholarship, full scholarship, okay? His last year in college, my grandmother told him he needed to come home because my mom was pregnant with my little brother. He got all the way up to his last year of college. My dad is very intelligent. He even, back then, you could take tests for the military for other people. He scored high enough to become a pilot himself for someone else. But in my opinion, I don't think my father ever recovered from that. He's 68 now, I think. Yeah, because I'm 50. He's 68 now. And I always ask him, Dad, why don't you go back to school? And he says, I've thought about it, but that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he probably feels like it's a bit too late. It's never too late. But I just think about where we all would have been had he, or could he have just toughed it out just that last year of my grandmother, back in those days, you need to come home and take care of your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
One more year, just one more year could have changed the whole trajectory of all of our lives.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think too, what you said makes me think about something else that you have brought to light.
Okay.
And that is that sometimes, and you said this a little earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes what we do is, what people do is that they tend to try to make sure that they give to the child what they think the child would have had,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In those circumstances.
Yeah.
So if we were a two-parent family, what would I have been doing for the child
Mm-hmm.
then?
Mm-hmm.
How can I make it seem like
exactly
that it's still both incomes coming in?
Yeah.
And how can I, give all of that?
Overcompensating.
Right.
Per se.
And right. You're
Mm-hmm.
you're overcompensating
Mm-hmm.
as if it really matters to the child.
No,
It doesn't. And not only that, if I were to get myself together in that 2-year time period, or whatever that time period was, I would easily get past where
mm-hmm.
I am struggling now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that tendency to overcompensate, the tendency to try to give the child more as if your singleness is a handicap. Mm-hmm. So because I'm single now, let me give the child more, or let me overcompensate, mm-hmm. so that won't be an inhibiting factor for my child. And it's not an inhibiting factor for the child.
It's not.
But I think sometimes people think that way. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit, mm-hmm. So that we can get some clarity, and someone else may be facing that same thing right now, mm-hmm. to see, well, what should that person be doing to help them not feel guilty, mm-hmm. About not overcompensating,
That's very dear to me as well. And I will say this, my children, they're adults now, 26 and 23. And at the age of almost 13, my son went to live with my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. He's working 2 jobs to give them things, mm-hmm. because we're divorced now. Mm-hmm. When really, that's not what our son wanted. He wanted his time. Mm-hmm. So I will say to anyone that is doing that, it creates problems down the road, because mm-hmm. at some point your kids start to feel entitled, first of all, like you owe them something and this is what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I will say this, it could be the parent. It may not even necessarily be about the child. It might be about the parent and their self-esteem and how they feel because things didn't work, or just mm-hmm. in general.
So are you saying then that if the woman or the man, mm-hmm. if they're the one that was I won't say rejected, but if they they probably basically. If you're the one that was rejected, or mm-hmm. you feel like that person has rejected you, mm-hmm. either because for whatever reason, either they said it's not working, mm-hmm. or they cheated on you, mm-hmm. and so you say it's not working, mm-hmm. right? Are you saying then that maybe what they're trying to do is to make sure that the children don't reject them as well? So if I keep giving them stuff, then I won't lose their love.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Because that's exactly what I witnessed, mm-hmm. and I think it still happens today. And the thing is, that didn't just start at that point of divorce. It's something that started a long time ago, but it takes all of us recognizing what it is inside of us, where that trauma started, mm-hmm. being honest with ourselves. But we don't like to do that. We just don't like to look at ourselves and say, you know what, something's not quite right. But instead what we'll do is maybe blame the other parent, or the mate, mm-hmm. why did you leave? Or if you hadn't have left, we wouldn't be experiencing this, or the kids wouldn't be going through this. They, kind of manipulate you in a sense. But and then the kids are in the middle. So it's something that you really have to find that balance so the kids don't witness that, because you're saying you're trying to give them better, but you're really just giving them a lot of chaos because they're in the middle of everything that's going on.
Right. And so now it becomes like a bidding war, I guess. Who can give the best gift, or who can make the child feel the most, I guess, high on the totem pole.
Exactly.
And so you're neglecting self, and you're not giving to yourself. And you know, and I've also felt this myself, is that if you don't give to you, then you really aren't in a good position to give to somebody else.
You really aren't.
You know, if you're not taking care of your own self emotionally, if you're not taking care of your own self spiritually, if you're not taking care of your own self physically, then you can't really effectively give to someone else all everything that they're needing.
But you have to recognize those things in yourself first.
Well, that's true, and I think that's the problem. I think that's the thing that while I think that this is an important topic to talk about, because I think many people, when you're single and you have the responsibilities of a child or children, that you spend so much time trying to be that good parent. You spend so much time trying to develop that child in a certain way. You spend so much time giving that you don't realize how exhausted you are. And you're steadily giving. You don't really realize how depressed you may be. You don't realize how out of sorts, emotionally drained you may be. That
you let yourself go.
Yeah, all those things, right, you don't think about anymore because you're pushing. And so you're really kind of, some parents live vicariously through the child.
They do.
So if the child brings home a good report card, then you just move, you don't even think about how you look in the mirror. All you think about is they brought home that good report card. But if you're drained, you still not giving the child what you really wanted to give. Whereas had you thought of self first, had you said, well, you know what, I got to make sure I'm emotionally cured. I got to make sure that I'm psychologically intact and that physically my health is there, then you have that strength.
That's right.
To give that quality time with the child. That playful time, that emotional stability in the family structure, and all those things you'll have. But you got to think of yourself just like you think of the child.
You do.
And you got to, I know, ladies, y'all gonna get mad at me for saying this, but you got to think of yourself before you think of the child.
You really do. I agree.
And I'll put it in this perspective for all the ladies that are thinking I did wrong, okay?
Okay.
If you've had a child and you've gone through an obstetrician, here's what the obstetrician will tell you, that your health affects the child.
It does.
And they'll tell you, right, you have to take care of you so you can take care of the child inside of you. They don't tell you take care of the child inside of you first, right? They say take care of you first, and that will take care of the child inside of you.
That's right.
Well, we act like when the child comes out, that no longer is applicable.
Yeah, we just put everything into the child.
We reverse it now.
Yeah.
It's neglect yourself and take care of the child. And so what I'm saying is that I think that if you're going to maximize singleness, even if you have a child, you don't stop. I guess my point is you don't stop maximizing you.
No, you really don't.
Right.
You really don't. You have to be a role model for the child, actually, is what you want to do. Show them how things are handled in life, basically, and let them know that they're supposed to put themselves first as they grow, so they'll know, when they have their own children, how to carry things. They'll know how to, what to do, what the process is for the most part. Because when you're going through something, I think back on my years when my kids were little, and if I was stressed, my kids are stressed. Because I'm upset, something's bothering me, I'm tired, or like you said, things are going on, and maybe I'm taking it out on them. Not intentionally, but
they know you're stressed.
Exactly.
Because they can see it. And I wanted to say this, because I know that, again, I know there's some naysayers out there. When I say take care of yourself first, I don't mean hit the club. I don't mean go to the club and leave the kids home by themselves and take care.
That's not what we're saying.
I'm not saying be neglectful. What I'm saying is this. You got to take care of your emotional self. You got to take care of your physical self and your spiritual self. Those are the three things when I say you got to put first. You gotta make sure you're emotionally you're intact, you're spiritually intact, and you're physically intact, because those things affect the welfare of your children.
Definitely.
And if you neglect those, then your children will that will feed toward them, and you won't be able to give them what they need from you. But if you are emotionally where you need to be, spiritually where you need to be, physically where you need to be, the child will benefit because you'll be able to give more to the child. You'll be able to give them more. You know, if you're not where you want to be with God, let's say, or where you need to be, how can you help the child get there?
You can't teach them anything at that point. If anything, you're teaching them negative patterns and habits. And I will tell you something that my daughter said to me just on Monday, I do believe. We were FaceTiming one another and talking about some things. And one thing she's learned, because she has been in counseling, so have I. And that's one thing as women, African-American women and men, I will add this part, don't be afraid to go to counseling. That's what it's there for. Ask God to direct you to someone. Like you said, emotionally, you have to take care of yourself. And if you know you need to talk to someone about something, then definitely see a counselor. I have EAP on my job. We get 5 free sessions, and after that's over, then you can, call them back, give them another reason, and go again. Right. So take advantage of, find out if you have those resources on your job, first of all. And
take that Prozac if they prescribe it to you. Take it. Don't go home and throw it away.
Oh, my goodness. Well, wait. Before you take any medication, I would say seek God first. Now, if there is something wrong, bipolar disorder, things like that, definitely take your medication.
You can't get the medication legally without seeing the doctor.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about the pharmaceutical on the corner.
I'm talking about the doctor.
I'm saying if that doctor prescribed you some medication, right? Now, I'm not trying to disagree with you publicly, but my point is this. If I have sought God and God has told me to go to that doctor,
that way,
I ain't got to go back to God and say, look, the doctor prescribed me medications, I take it. If you go to your primary care physician or you go to a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist say, listen here, look, take this lithium. Get you some water and take it. That's all you take. Get you some water and take it. Okay?
And I mean it in the way that you're saying. Seek God first for counsel and then let him direct you. Because sometimes we're on all these medications and stuff and we may not necessarily need them.
We may not know we need them.
True. Well, we might not know and we might not need it either. But I'm saying let God direct you and then definitely take it.
All I'm saying is this, and we ain't going to stay on this for so long.
Okay.
You don't know what you need
until you know what
you need.
Don't suffer needlessly.
So that's what I'm saying. My point is too many of us have said, I don't need it.
Oh no, I'm not speaking of
I
it
get
that
that,
way.
but I'm just saying. So that's what I'm saying. But see, we will say, and that's why I ain't telling folk, you don't know, because too many of us will say, I don't need it.
Yeah. That's true.
And there are too many folk that will say, you can pray it away.
No, I don't
and
mean
I'm
it
not
in
saying
that
God can't heal you. All I'm saying is, if your doctor has this prescribed medication to you, if you ain't going to take it, don't go. Don't waste your doctor's time.
That's true.
All I'm saying. Don't waste
That
your
is
time.
true.
And if you're going to take it, don't you get off the medicine on your own. Talk to your physician about it.
That's right.
You may not need to be up there permanently, but you can talk to your physician.
That's true.
And the physician, they will know based on your conversation, since what's going on, if it's okay to take you off. I'm just worried that people will take themselves off. I don't want nobody to come down at the prayer line and then just say, I prayed about it, Lord, I'm going to dump it out. No. Talk to your physician and then come off of it. But anyway, back to that. That's enough of my health.
That's true.
My health.
And this is the point that I was getting to, and you're right, I agree with you. My daughter made this comment to me. She said, you got to show up for yourself first. We always have to show up for ourselves first. If we can't show up for ourselves, we can't show up for anyone else. Not a child, employee, anybody. So we have to take care of ourselves first and foremost.
Yeah, and absolutely. And see, I think that we have gotten to this point where we are proud to say I sacrificed. Right? But I'm proud to say I sacrificed in a positive way. See, I sacrificed for my children by going back to school and getting another degree.
Okay.
That was a sacrifice.
I'm sure.
The sacrifice wasn't to stay home. The sacrifice was to get another degree. And this is what I knew, that it would be better for them if I got the degree so that when they were in the formative years, I was there, than to wait till they got in the formative years. Because here's what I knew. That at 2 and 3 years old, if I wasn't there and they was with a babysitter, it wasn't going to kill them.
That's true.
But at 13, 14, they needed me there.
Oh, most definitely.
See, they needed me. They needed their father.
Definitely.
My daughter needed her father.
Yeah.
Because that's the time when she's developing and looking at, what can she see in a man? That's the time when my son is looking for that kind of guidance when, you need that bass in your voice to get him squared away.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just saying that sometimes what people do, they do the opposite.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And I'm saying the same thing is that emotionally, you have to be where you need to be. You can't be where you are emotionally if all of your energy is focused on your child. Because I'm not saying neglect your child. I'm not saying neglect your child.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that even Jesus got away. Right? Even Jesus went up into the mountain to pray and be with even Jesus went on the Mount of Transfiguration. Even Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane and got away and had his alone time. But we act like we don't need it.
Oh no, we most definitely need it.
But you know what I'm saying? We act like we don't need it.
No.
And so we will not look at that we need to back up too. And that causes us to be in an emotional state that's not healthy.
I agree.
And when you're not healthy emotionally, you are not healthy spiritually.
That's right.
Right? And if you're not healthy emotionally or spiritually, it impacts your physical health.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm putting it out there that way, is that, like you said, you got to show up for yourself first. And I think that people need to understand that doesn't mean neglect. That means if you're the best that you can be, it helps everyone in your circle.
That's true. I think some women may feel like, or people in general, they're being a bad parent if they don't put the child first or do certain things. And like you said before, you have to put yourself first. Sometimes people, they will go out and make sure the kid's spending $200-$300 on shoes for a child, and then they're wearing knockoffs or whatever you want to call it, bargain shoes. And there's nothing wrong with that, bargain shoes. However, you're still teaching the child that they come first. You're teaching them almost to treat you like the help. Some kids will do that. Treat a parent like they are the help. This is what you're supposed to do for me. And then they will get an attitude behind it if you don't do it.
That's right. And listen, I'm telling every parent out there, right? If you got an iPhone 9, your child better not have an iPhone 11.
That's right. That's right.
If you got a 9, your child need to have a 4, iPhone 4. Okay.
True.
But what you're saying is so true, and it puts the person in a bad place. Because if you think of nature, for example, and I know one of my managers said that I watched too much TV and I got too much time on my hands. But I like to watch. I get up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I like to watch the Animal Channel, Animal Planet, right? And here's what happens, right? That mother bird, right, will go out and get food and put it in her stomach first. Then she comes and she feeds the child. And she doesn't bring it whole and give it to the child and not have food in her stomach first. That bird knows, if I don't have the strength to fly,
exactly,
I can't feed the child.
That's a great analogy right there.
Right? The same thing with the lioness, right? When she brings that meal down, let that little joker come over and try to eat something first. She'll take that paw and then she'll eat. She don't mind him coming nibble a little bit, but she eats and she makes sure she has the strength. And then the child eats, right? Because they understand, if I'm not healthy, the pride will die.
That's right.
The mother bird knows, if I can't fly, everything goes away. But what I'm saying is that for what reasons that I don't quite understand, And I love my mother for the sacrifices that she made.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying she didn't think that way. She didn't think that she needed to take care of herself first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, that wasn't the decision she made. She went without clothes so we could have clothes.
Mm-hmm.
She would be sick to make sure we were healthy.
Wow.
And I'm saying that's not a sacrifice. I think she should have took the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
She should have said to herself, you know what? If I'm healthy and if I'm doing a certain thing, they will be there faster.
I agree. But we just, as mothers, nurturers, and that's just what we do. We feel in our mind, when we have that child, our first instinct is to take care of it. So we think we are taking care of the child by putting the child first. But like you said, actually we're not. If we take care of ourselves first, then we are taking better care of the child.
Right, because you're in a better position
exactly.
to make everyone whole and everyone healthy. And it also, again, makes you the better you. And so that's the other thing too. The better you are personally, and you always, bring in that purpose thing. The better you are personally, the better you are stabilized personally, the more it allows you to let God use you for that purpose He's put you here for.
Definitely.
But if you're torn down and you're worn down, there's no way that you can really fulfill God's purpose.
You can't.
In what He may have for you as a part of letting Him use you.
Yeah, you can be a better parent, period, if you're allowing God to use you, if you're serving others. Because what's happening now, the kids are seeing this, and you're able to teach them about God and His goodness. And they grow up and they'll go out, and the hope is they're going to come back to what you taught them. That's the goal.
That's what the Bible says.
That's the goal. Yeah.
If you train them in the way that they will go, right, they won't stray far away from the teaching that they got for you. That's a critical thing. Like you say, if you seek God for that, if you seek God for it, and allow Him to make you the better you. That should be first and foremost. Allow Him to make you the better you. It will also make you the better parent.
It will.
And it will also make you the better servant. And it will also make the dynamic much better because you're maximizing who you are.
Definitely.
While you're single, while God is preparing that Boaz for you, or while God's preparing that Ruth for you. Yeah. Because if you've broken down, then Boaz might show up and look over there and say, "Whoa, not that Ruth. Whoa, that Ruth broken down. I can't."
Oh my goodness.
So.
And then if he sees how the kids are, what's going on in that dynamic, he might not want to be a part of all that. Yes. So that's something to think about also.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, it's been a great 30 minutes. I think I'm checking my watch and I see that we've gone through 25 minutes here. And so actually almost 30 minutes actually. But listen, it's been a beautiful topic, and I just think that, if we can help people to understand that it's not a bad thing to take care of self.
That's right.
It's not a bad thing to make sure that you are the best that you can be, and knowing that the more you take care of you, the more able you will be to take care of those you love.
That's right. And then I like to add, find your identity in God first, and like you just said, then you can take care of those that you love. But if you are finding your identity in being a mother or parent, or what the kids are doing, when the kids got an A, all A's on the report card sometimes in our minds, so we got an A. Not the kids, but we did. So find your identity in God and purpose, and let that determine everything else.
I couldn't have said it any better. That right there that's the essence of what we're trying to say right there. I couldn't say it any better. Thank you so much for joining us on today. Please don't forget to like us when you view the podcast, and share it with a friend.
Please.
God bless you. Have a beautiful day. We love you, but God will always love you more.
That's right.